What's up, you pumpkin heads? Let's see what's going on in the patch. You're watching Moby Mike Pumpkins on YouTube. All right, so this little guy, we thought he was dead. He grew 56 pounds last week. It's about 490 pounds, as you can see. There's basically like no plant. There's 2 vines on each side. Super small, about 490 pounds. I lost the weight on the scale because I was playing around to get a readout working on there for kind of for next year, so we can see the weight on that one on the live stream too. So I got to finish that project up, but still growing. We'll probably just take this to Cedarburg and weigh it up there, and it is what it is. So we lost the main vine on it, rotted out. I removed that portion of the plant. It's just got what's left. We're obviously not weeding it. It is what it is. All right, so here we have the 2501 Bernstrom. It's not doing too bad, but it's growing a little less than I want to. Just take a look at the plant here. The plant looks pretty good. It's showing up pretty green on camera, but I had kind of been overwatering it, and it was kind of yellowing in a lot of the new growth and stuff. So I'm gonna let it, we got some more rain, and then that made it even worse. So everything is terminated now. I just got to the point where I was like, all right, it's time to finish out here. You can kind of see, here's the one vine that's left growing. This is the vine, the secondary closest to the pumpkin. You can see that yellow, but that yellow is like on a lot of this newer growth here. It's greening up. We're gonna just let it dry out tomorrow, and then we're gonna switch it around here. So one thing that Chad had interviewed Ian Payton the other night. He reminded me of something I did last year, which was watering multiple times a day. Last year I was watering like 9 times a day to try and artificially raise the humidity on the plant. And it did seem like it gave me a little better gains than just doing it once per day. And I thought maybe it was because of the humidity. And then as he was talking, they water 5 times a day. And the reason being is the water is free water. It's available water. So it's not like completely tied up. So each time you water, that water is available like instantly for the roots to take it away. It doesn't have to like pull it out of the soil. So that's maybe where I was getting some of those gains from. And I gotta hook up the watering system anyway, because like next week I was gonna be gone for a few days. And so we're gonna get it rolling this week on that. The only thing with that is like there's no rinsing, so like not really gonna be feeding with that. So there's probably plenty of juice down here after all I've put down. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad on camera, but we're kind of not as green as I want. Like I said, that dries out, that should perk up. But so this pumpkin, let's go take a look at we got to get the sheet for this guy so I don't say anything wrong. You know, obviously we got it on a scale here. Numbers for the week on this guy, it's day 63. It's 413 inches. That's an estimated weight of 1,534 pounds. So its estimated gain for the week was 177, which is a 25.3 gain average. Its actual weight is 1,606 pounds, which was 190 pounds gain for the week, and a daily average of 27.1. So that puts it at about 4.7% heavy to the chart. Last week was about 4.5, and the week was about 3.6. So it's slightly going up, pinking up. But yeah, pretty decent. So this week, the work that I did in the patch wasn't too much. We weeded the patch, which, you know, compared to that, you know. So everything's just kind of, you can see, pretty open. There's weeds under there, but wanted to keep the airflow going. We got, you know, this time of year where you really get the fungus and the bacteria going. So anyway, last night was the first night I sprayed copper, and I discontinued TKO about a little more than 2 weeks ago, because you got to be careful with those two. They can make each other phototoxic, which means your plant is basically toxic to sunlight, which is a very, very bad thing. Anyway, so usually around this time of year I get some like bacterial stuff coming on the leaves, the older leaves, and what we want to do is keep that at bay, and copper is basically the only thing that works with bacteria. They say there's some other stuff, but copper for bacteria. But copper is very, 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 very difficult. I shouldn't say difficult, you just got to be very careful with copper because it reacts with so much stuff. You just got to be careful with applying it and the right rates. But unfortunately, right after I applied it, it dang started raining. So it sprinkled a little bit, and I thought, well, the underside's good. Maybe I'll spray half the amount again on top. And then about an hour later, it poured pretty hard. I think I'm still going to do just kind of half the amount that I originally applied on top, because I just don't think I got a chance to dry on there. So I think we'll do that again with the copper and call it good. So basically this week we just did weeding, copper, and that was about it, other than, you know, our normal watering. So we're going to switch the watering. We're going to go to 7 times a day. Each time probably 1 minute, maybe the first time 2 minutes to start the day out. We'll go from there. It's really funny, that little orange spot on the pumpkin. I don't get that, but hopefully that's not a problem. It just looks different than everything else. Looks like someone kicked it there. I think it might be in the sheet just rubbing on it. Now we go over to our buddy the watermelon. So we swapped nutrients on this a few days ago, which brings me to a slight problem I'm having right now. But let's just talk about the melon here for a second. It's 53 pounds. It averaged 3.71 pounds per day for this last week, which isn't too bad, but it should be in its peak growth, which can get up to 6 pounds, I guess. But because of the weather here, we're not down south. This plant isn't huge. It might not happen. Hopefully I can hold close to that number again this next week or two, but the temperatures are going to cool down. So anyway, back to the nutrient change. Everything was good, and I was just doing a routine nutrient change, 3 weeks. Reason being is your nutrient solution will get out of ratio. The plant will take up what it needs, then things get out of ratio, and then it starts taking up what it can, and it's just not fully right, so you got to swap it out every once in a while. So anyway, and everything was behaving normally. Basically, when your hydroponic system is working good, your pH will slightly rise, you bring it down, yada yada yada. So I swapped the nutrient solution out. I changed my ratio a little bit to a little bit more potassium, a little less nitrogen. Not a huge difference. And what was happening is my pH was maintaining, and then it was even starting to drop, which can be an indicator that your roots are rotting. But I was not getting that all right before the nutrient change, so I don't know if I had some, you know, I filled this tote up beforehand to get everything straightened out. But anyway, I do use a fungicide for the roots. Don't think of a fungicide as a normal fungicide. It's actually a bacteria that acts as a fungicide. And so we got some of that in there, and I seem to have gone up a little bit from yesterday, so that's good. So hopefully, you know, it was like 2-3 days in a row of maintaining pH, and then 1 day of dropping, which in a proper system, you shouldn't ever drop. Dropping could mean low in potassium, but you're talking like 4 to 5 days after nutrient change. It's not out of potassium. So, but there is some kind of funk going on, I know, with the plant a little bit. You can see one yellow leaf over there, but I don't know if there's like gummy stem, but there's some oozing, cracking vines. We've been spraying tebuconazole and then azoxystrobin, just to try and keep everything at bay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, and then before the nutrient change though too, so my pH meter, I wasn't calibrating it like I should. It was drifting on me a little bit. I was running my pH meter was reading higher than it was. So my pH, I was running my pH like way low, like below 5.5, and 5.5 is about as low as you want to go. So I got some curling on some leaves that kind of did straight, like this part of the plant was starting to curl and stuff because it wasn't taking in the right amount of nutrients. That's why I kind of was like, oh, I better swap out nutrients. And then I was like, I calibrated my pH meter like a good boy, and I found out why you need to do that. I knew better. So the pH range wasn't good for it taking nutrients. Then we swapped it out. We've been good. But anyway, so that's where the melon's at. And we got Billy Bad Boy the pumpkin. Did we name this pumpkin? I don't even remember. We name them. I name them. We name them. Oh yeah, Charlie's Angel. And then I forget. I don't know. It's like the pumpkin. It's Charlie's Angel right there. Oh yeah, Farah. Charlie's Angel, Farah. There we go. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week. Peace.